Our next speaker and his family and school have been a part of our national gathering almost since the very beginning, but he is here to share with you about the change that they have, the road that they have taken at their school, really just to make the output phenomenal kids. So this is Dr. David Paul Zimmerman from Reuben Preparatory School. Let's give him a big hand. Thanks.
So this is supposed to be about transformation. I'm going to show you where all of you are in the process of transforming. This eventually will be you. I didn't expect that to be laughter. That's supposed to be kind of a, oh yeah, right? Well, the truth is, as you go through transformation, there are some things in our schools that need to die, and they need to be buried, okay? When I'm gets depressed because things aren't moving fast as much as I think they ought to, I always go to our kindergarten classes on our other campus. And there's a little boy who's about 4 years old. His name is Max, and Max is from the Ukraine. Our school has 27 ethnic groups represented. I actually am in the minority because I am white, 66, have a doctorate, and married for 36 years, okay? And the kids say, you're old. And I appreciate being old. Part of this process is every morning I awaken, this is how I see the day. Because I'm going to meet with some kids. I'll tell you a little bit about how we went through this transformation, because I already know that those of you who were here yesterday, and by the time you leave today, you will be transformed. There will be something you heard, something you experienced that said, you know what? I'm going back out. It's about the kids. I originally worked out of Houston a lot, working for Exxon, flying offshore. I have family that lives in Texas, although I live in Seattle. And about 20 years ago, I met a couple, 35 years married. They were having that time of their life when, what's there left? Bored. She recommended that they go to a counselor. This is in Texas, long time ago. He said no. She went. Counselor said, you want to reinvigorate your marriage? Find something your husband really likes to do and do it with him. She said, I know exactly what it is, deer hunting. Under the Christmas tree, he finds this long, long package wrapped. He opens it up. It's the Winchester 30-06. She grabs it and says, it's mine. We're going deer hunting. Oh, no, we're not. That's for us guys. And of course, being a Texas woman, she went deer hunting. As they went out in the field, he sent her off that way, where there were no deer, and he went off this way. And about 15 minutes later, he heard pow, pow, pow. And he thought to himself, my goodness, beginner's luck. As he proceeded to go back, he heard her voice, but it was the voice when she was really quite upset about something. And he peered around the tree, and there she was with her finger at this guy, and she was just letting him have it. And he sees the guy go, fine, lady, you can have the deer, but can I take my saddle with me? And oftentimes, when we're talking about transformation, that's pretty much the way I have felt. I know what I wanted to do, I know the direction I wanted to do, and I think I got it, and it was absolutely wrong. This is what your students are going to be facing in the next 5 to 6 years. 3D printing, artificial, or what I prefer, augmented intelligence, analytics and big data, chain block, connectivity, digitalization, Internet of Things, nanotechnology, robotics, smart infrastructure, smart manufacturing, wearables. Look at the amount of money in the next 6 years that would be going into these areas, many of which some of you are saying, what is that? $2.5 trillion would be flowing into these. And underneath each of these mega trends, there are subsections which you can specialize in. And every single one of these need data scientists. They need chemists, they need biologists, they need psychologists, they need teachers. This actually is from a book that's going to be coming out on December 15th. It's something that Leilani wrote. And it really talks about the multiplicity of directionality. If you've not read her book, I really encourage you to read it. I give it away to people who come to the school because it is profound. It changed my perspective on many things. But she was quoted in a book that's coming out on December 15th, Teaching AI, Exploring New Frontiers for Learning. It's geared toward the education market. It will give you an insight where AI is going to transform education. So let's go to how do we do our transformation process. I don't know about you, but as a child in Louisiana, what I would love is the afternoons when I could go out in the kindergarten and lay down on the grass and watch the clouds go by. Anybody ever do that? You watch the clouds go by, and what were you looking for? Shapes. And how did you determine what those shapes were? From previous experience. I could pick out a dog. I could pick out a cat, or snake, alligator. It's Louisiana, okay? But there's one thing that really awed me is that it was so big. There were no limitations when I looked out. Of course, when I got up and encountered Sister Mary Immaculata in first grade, there were a lot of limitations. Okay? But I realized looking up that there's something that brought me here. There was a question in my mind, what am I supposed to be about? What's life about? Anybody have an iPhone? Ask Siri, what's life about? Do even better, ask Siri, am I a good person? And Siri will respond to you, I don't know. You're AI. You're supposed to know everything. You're supposed to be able to give me insight. This is a school in China. Gloria and I taught in China. This is a school we went to visit, 65 students. Actually, there was no room in the back. There's only one door to get into. Okay? These kids were awesome. Rote memorization, regurgitation of facts and figures, but no creativity. And in fact, in the first slide you saw, as I'm looking up, we come from a specific faith tradition, and from our scriptures, the first sentence is, in the beginning, God created. And of all the things we can offer students is for them to understand that they are creators, not just consumers. And they're creators for a specific purpose, to make a difference in this world. I come from a generation, unfortunately, a 60s child, in which we were going to change the world. We were going to make a difference. Just look at Washington, D.C., look at a good job we've done. But we have moved into roles of leadership. Some of you are. Some of the school districts, I'm amazed at what you have to deal with. Several weeks ago, I met with 22 people who flew in from Taiwan to visit our school. And their superintendent was just explaining what he deals with on a daily basis. 20,000 teachers, 1.5 million students. And he's my age, and he loved it. He just was fascinated about it. He said, because it's nonstop change, 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 change. This school needed some change. But not just looking up in creativity. We look back. I don't know about you, but the older I get, the more I appreciate my past. I don't want to live in my past, but I can appreciate that the challenges, the struggles, have made me who I am today. I'm actually less judgmental today than I was 25 years ago when I knew everything. I actually love to engage people who think they know everything, especially when they're 25. A young teacher who comes in. It's like, well, what do you have to offer me? You're old. Well, we'll soon see, because one day you're going to look like me too. Okay? But looking back is where we acquired knowledge. And one of the things we try and do in this transformation that we put into our school is have children look back. You say, a kindergarten? Doesn't a kindergarten have a grandfather, mother, great-grandfather? Looking back, what we discover is humility is an incredible gift. And if we can imbibe that into young children, a sense of humility, you don't know everything. You'll never know everything. And you're going to have other people coming in to help you to understand the world. AI will never take over a teacher's position. And in fact, AI will actually require more and more and more teachers to be involved. There's no threat to teachers. The threat is we're not going to have enough teachers ready to be able to do what all this technology is going to give the kids an opportunity to experience. Humility is one of those gifts, I think, that we oftentimes are afraid to engage with. I've learned telling a 15-year-old, when I'm asked a question, I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. Google it. I don't know the answer. Why don't you know the answer? Because I don't want to spend the time learning it. You do? Go for it, and then come tell me the answer. So we looked up, great world. We looked at the past. We have an appreciation from where we've come. But now we're in the present. And you saw the picture of the casket. Having gone through 2 bouts of chemotherapy for cancer, I'm very aware of my mortality. I'm very much aware when I wake up in the morning, when that sun is shining, I have one day. I only have this day. There's no guarantee that any of you might not walk out of here and fall down the stairs, break your neck, have a heart attack. There's just no guarantee. Hey, but looking at the present is where I begin to try and answer the question about life, and that's acquired truth. And that's what students are looking for, truth. Everything on the internet is true, right? Our daughter does an experiment with students of sending students home to study the Northwest tree octopus. And if you know anything about the Northwest tree octopus, it's a very unique creature. Okay. What's that? It's a beautiful animal. It's got all kinds of sway that goes with it. And students will come back and begin to explain about where it was and how it lives, etc. Of course, it's false. And they know it's false. But they come back because their parents have told you, do the project so you can get the grade. And the project was to come back and say, it's false. There's no truth to it. One of the gifts I think we can give children is the ability to discern truth. How do you find out when you're searching for things, whether it's true or not? That is transformative in a student's life. So not only do we look up, we look back, we're at the present. The one thing that as I get older, hope I have more and more to give to new teachers coming in is wisdom. Wisdom. And that's acquired. And wisdom is usually acquired through not when things are going great, things are going easy. It's when things are going tough. It's when life has become a challenge. It's when you're getting up and facing a group of 20 kids, or as a superintendent, 75,000 students, and parents knowing that there's never going to be enough that you're going to do to satisfy everyone. Because there is an interdependency. This is out of China. And when I look at this, I think about where do I fit? I'm not as important as I used to think I was. I know for a fact if I were to die tomorrow, someone would just take my place. They may not do it the way I do it, but they'll take my place. Okay, so where's my place? And wherever my place is, I'm part of a much larger picture. And at this point in my life, that much larger picture includes kids. Not only that, after we've looked up and looked back and looked at the present and looked to others, we have power that's delegated. If you're a superintendent, someone's delegated you that power. A teacher, you've been delegated power. I'm not afraid of power. I love power. 4-year-old boys love power. 4-year-old boys are awesome. I taught preschool and pre-kindergarten with Gloria for years. I like it because they tell you very clearly, I'm in charge. I'm the boss. Do it my way or I'll make your life a living hell. Go to Toys R Us and watch some of the things that happen. Little 4-year-old boys. And I was the same way when I went into the Marine Corps. I was the boss until a gunny lifted me off the ground and said, we don't do things like that in the Corps. And he scared me. Now, occasionally I will lift a little 4-year-old off with the parent because it's just a power. Where's the boundaries? You know, who's in charge? Tell me where the boundaries are at. The thing I love about China is China has so many boundaries, and yet those boundaries are now being broken. And talk about AI, the country that's moving the fastest in all this technology is China. It is exploding, the research that's being done. And it's very coordinated, it is very purposeful, more for control. So we take all those together, creativity, humility, resolve. I'm going to accomplish the job. The Marines, you would say, come hell or high water, the mission's going to be accomplished. There's an interdependency. None of us are lone wolves. I need you, you need me. I've learned so much today from so many of you. I mean, I'm just sitting here and fascinated. The one thing I learned is most of you are passionate about what you're doing. You may not be happy about it, but you're passionate about it. You still have dreams, you still have hopes. And stop and think, bringing those dreams and hopes into a classroom or into a school or into an entire school district, into a nation. The one thing our children need more than anything else is not assessments, not tests, not being judged, but being given the power to dream and to hope. To hope that their dreams can come true. For us, I think transformation comes when all that's put together in a real simple four-letter word. It's called love. I have to be careful nowadays because for years, I just walk around and tell kids, I love you. You know, text you. You don't do any of that stuff today because that can be misconstrued. But love makes a difference. And I'm going to show you. Probably some of you are sitting there thinking, yeah, you don't know my superintendent. You don't know my principal. You know, that's a good theory. But do you know that children can change like that? Do you know that women can change just like that? Now, I know you're not going to believe this, but men can change just like that. And David doesn't know this, but David's going to prove it to you. I'm going to leave you with just a story, an analogy. David's going, what's going on? Dave, coming up for a minute. Does anybody know what I-beam is? There it is, construction I-beam. We haven't talked about this, have we? No, sir. Okay. You have children, right? 2. How old are they?
11 and 14.
Do you love them?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll see. So, we're going to take this I-beam, and it's about, let's say it's just 100 feet long, 150 feet long. It's 6 inches wide and about 6 inches high. Can you stand right over there, please? And I'm going to lay this I-beam right in front of us, and I'm going to ask you to come across it, and I'm going to give you $1,000. Would you do it? Sure, come on. I mean, it's just 6 inches. Big deal. Imaginary I-beam, imaginary 1,000. Okay. Now, going back. So we're going to take that I-beam, and we're going to go to New York City, where there used to be the trade towers. They're about 1,360 feet above the ground, concrete, and about 150 feet between them. And we're going to place that I-beam on one side, and we're going to tie it down. Okay? There's 1,360 feet going straight down. It's Christmas Eve. It's been snowing. And on that I-beam is ice. The wind's blowing about 35 miles an hour. And I'm going to offer you all the money in the world. And before you say anything, just think about what you could do if you had unlimited resources, not just for the Learning Council, but for the world. I'm going to offer you that if you walk across the I-beam. The wind's about 50 miles an hour now. Would you do it? No. Okay. No, I don't need to know your explanation. You're a man. So what David has just told me that his life is more valuable than money. And don't stop and think for one moment that oftentimes when we talk about educating kids, it revolves around that. Get a good job. Be educated. You'll get this, that, and the other. David's still there. David, do you have an ideal vision of your ideal woman?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're married to her.
Yes.
That's the next point. Okay. Ladies, for all of you who have never gone through adolescence as a man or as a boy, we all have our ideal fantasy of that ideal woman. It doesn't exist, but it's there. But I'm her. The wind's now about 60 miles an hour, and it is really, really snowing. But if you come across that I-beam, I'm yours. Now going back. Wow. Now, be serious with me. Would you come across that I-beam for the fantasy woman?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because I know her.
Yeah. Well, 9 out of 10 men won't do that. It's his wife. I can appreciate that. I'll tie that in. But most of us are not willing to give up our life for some fantasy, some relationship. Our life's too valuable for that. But you're going to come across that I-beam. Okay? So I've known you for years. I've always appreciated your work. And I'm sincere about that. I mean, learning Counsel has constantly given me, when I'm down, just the passion to keep going. You're intelligent, you're bright, but you also care about people. Of all the things I know about you is you care deeply about people because you know that they make a difference in kids' lives. So tomorrow morning, your face would be plastered over every billboard in the world. You will be on news, radio, TV, 24 hours. You'll trump Trump, okay? Everyone will know about you. Everyone will be in awe of you. That wind's now about 80 miles an hour. And it's 1,367 feet down. Would you come across? Okay. So David's basically telling me he's not going to come across this. He will come across. He's not going to come across here for money. His life is too valuable. He's not going to come across here for fame. His life is too valuable. He's not going to come across here for some fantasy relationship. His life's too valuable. But he's going to come across. What's your youngest child's name?
Catherine.
Catherine. Do you remember the day she was born? Pretty awesome, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I have Catherine right here. But I have her by her feet. And I'm holding her over the edge. Look, folks, kids die every day in war and famine. I'm going to count to 10.
What's the fastest somebody's ever come across?
1, 2. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, sit down. What changed? Love. Let's say David did come across, his little daughter never had the opportunity to ever meet him. But at his home, there's a picture of David on the mantle. She sees it every day she goes by. And as she grows older and older and older, and she begins to ask, who is that? That was your dad. Where is he? Oh, he's not around. And at a certain point, Mom tells her what happened. Had she ever really met him? Had she ever had a relationship with him? Now she hears, your dad loved you so much, he was willing to die for you. From the day that she hears those words to the day that she dies, no matter what anyone will say to her, no matter which test she passes, no matter which job she has, she will understand her value. If there's anything I think that's brought about transformation to us and for our school, is I value every child. And they can ask the question, are you willing to die for me? And they know without a doubt, yeah. I may not like you today because you're being a snot. I don't like the way you're talking. But I will die for you. I hope that as you leave here today, with all the responsibilities that you have, that when you look in the mirror, that if there's anything that you see when you look in the mirror is your value and your worth as a woman, as a man, as a person. There's one thing that binds us all together. It is pain, it's suffering, it's hurt. And our schools are filled with children who are suffering and hurting, saying, does anyone care about me? Will anyone be willing to die for me? And if you as a superintendent, you as a teacher, you as a parent, of all the things that you do, if you can leave that image with your staff, with your children, I care so deeply about you, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to give you the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the challenge, the opportunity to make a difference. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the kids. It's about the kids. I'm going to close with this because I think we're right on time. I do a lot of research in AI, and I had the opportunity to go to New York City for an 8-hour meeting on Wall Street, the stock exchange, with a company called Reuben. And this is a book they wrote, very simple book, Embracing the Power of AI. Because AI is going to transform education in ways you can't even begin to imagine. But this is the very last paragraph. There are very bright minds that are up to the challenge, warning about and trying to find a way to keep AI in control. The potential danger is not a deal breaker, but rather a wake-up call, reminding us that we need some serious science on how this thing evolves and how it is controlled, coupled with serious philosophical work about what it means to be smart, to have sense, to have an objective that is coherent with the existence of other living beings. Listen to this final sentence. In the end, AI is dangerous because you cannot engineer a meaning to existence. We still need to define it, even before we try to find a way to imbue it in our lives. That's the remarkable thing about it. It all revolves around existence. Every child I meet has two questions. Am I lovable? And can I love? Am I lovable? Every word we speak into their lives, whether it's in confrontation or encouragement, makes a difference. Words are powerful, incredibly powerful. I'm going to close with this. My son was recently married. He's an Air Force Academy grad, Air Force pilot. He's gone to war several times. And called me a month and a half ago. Dad, you're going to be a grandfather. Oh, I've been waiting for that for a long time. I can't wait but Dad, don't say anything until December the 5th, after we go through our second checkup. Great. We get a call several weeks ago, your son's going into emergency surgery. Okay. His wife tells us she's a pediatric oncologist. We'll take care of you and let you know. And over the next 24 hours, she began calling. He's doing fine. Surgery went well. He'll be fine. What she did not tell me is that as he went into the emergency room, my first grandchild died in her womb. It was one of those days where you kind of just think, of all the kids who are going to be perfect, because I have all this wisdom, all the things I can teach this child about. Dream, 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 keep going. Yes, people will say no. Sister Immaculata used to tell me how I would never measure up to anything because I couldn't sit still in a chair. I still have the scars on my hand from the rulers because I couldn't write a perfect Z. Today I designed my own Z, and every time I use it, it's like, she's dead and gone, but it's still like, still got you, huh? But again, I hope as you walk out of here that you really bring with you a deep sense of how valuable you are just as a person, not an administrator, just as a person. Just as a person. Look in the mirror, and on the day that I die, I only hear a couple of words. Well done. Well done. Thanks.